Shall we begin? Let's begin now. Let's begin now.
This is not a drill.
Repeat, this is not a drill.
Is that all you got?
Let's begin now.
What up? Oh, for sure.
Hi everyone. Oh, one. Hi everyone. Pressed the wrong button. How are you all? Hopefully you're better than I was this morning. I woke up and I had a headache. Strangely enough, sleep on the sofa. If you noticed my stream last night with Steve, I was drunk by the end of it. And yeah, I think lockdown is crazy. Talking to a dog is not time. Hi Jenny. Hi Liam. Hi Titch. Hi Propaganda. Hi Don, got severe COVID-19 symptoms, Don says, and just been told by a nurse at 111 they don't test anymore. So all that kind of can be done is to stay at home with paracetamol. Don't know what to make of it. Well, stick around, Don. I might confuse the hell out of you even more by the end of this stream with what I want to talk about. Not bothered about being tested, but my breathing is concerning me. Oh, well, we'll just wait and see. Stay safe, Don, and keep things on standby. Do you look after yourself, eating fruit and all that shit that they tell you to do that I never do. Rizor, don't be being troll stuff in the chat. Titch will be on your back. Be in time out like a bad boy. Problem with it. Hi everybody. It's been an interesting couple of days. So how is everybody? Well, I've heard today that 25% of the planet is on lockdown. 25% of the planet. How are you all? Are you enjoying this lockdown? Are you enjoying the measures that your country is taking to keep you safe? I love my country. I really do. I love the rights that you have. I'll tell you somebody else who just loves this erosion of rights there. This guy, Owen Jones. What happened to the left in this country? The left in this country used to be led by people like Tony Benn. Now we've got Owen Jones. He says, I never thought I'd be relieved to be placed under house arrest, along with millions of people under a police state by a right-wing Tory government. Here's the thing, right? He says there, a little bit further down, he got a load of shit for this from people, and rightly so. He says he was joking, really. I put it to you, Owen, that you were not joking. He really is relieved to be under a police state by a Tory right-wing government, bringing down authoritarian measures on us all. He really is relieved. Do you know why? Because Owen Jones is a parasite. In fact, parasite is probably too good a word. What he is actually is a cuttlefish. Let me explain. There's a breed of cuttlefish that the male, if he's a weak male, he's not up to the standard of an alpha male. He goes, alpha male cuttlefish, they have like a harem of lady cuttlefish that they can have because they're the alpha male, Owen Jones is like the beta male of the cuttlefish world. He disguises himself as a female just so he can invade the alpha male's harem, and then when the alpha male's back is turned, he goes and fucks all the women cuttlefish. That's the sort of person Owen Jones is. And that's the state of the Labour left in this country now. They're cheering on authoritarian measures being brought into this country so they can take away God knows who, God knows what, and have no recourse at all. I've already shown last night of how my local police are running around kicking over barbecues if more than, 2 people are having a barbecue. Especially as you'll see if you scroll up, look, they're on a council estate and they're a bit brown. I dare say if Graham Norton was having a barbecue last night with 19 friends over, his police force wouldn't have turned up and knocked his barbecue over. This is why people like Owen Jones have a parasite on this country. Sicken me, Jones. You really do. Notice there, I had to show this in a secretive browser. I had to log out of Twitter because he's that much of a spineless wimp. He blocked me, saying something mean about him and Jeremy Corbyn. That's the state of the left in this country. And people, why? They wonder why. Our rights are getting eroded away. That's the resistance. Are you surprised? Yes, I'm not. Gay mafia say alpha males are wimps. So Epstein was an alpha male then, Gordon. I think Epstein was an abominable piece of shit, mate. Epstein. A metaphor. Greetings from Birmingham, says Andrew Methven. All right, mate, how you doing? It's a shame about the Villa match is being cut off, isn't it, mate? I'm only blessing, mate. Love you, Brummies. He's from a yam yam. Cats and dogs can't get it, says Titch. Coronavirus. How would you tell? Can dogs cough? Hi everyone. So yesterday I did a video that was really quite worrying because there are reports of doctors in Italy who were saying that they've seen people suffering with symptoms of COVID-19, of the coronavirus, as early back as November last year. Saying they had an influx of people, and there are some that are saying that this is the reason why Italy, with a population of 60 million, has had more deaths than China, who's got a population of 1 billion. They're basically saying that started out in Italy first. Now in northern Italy, I know that there's a lot of Chinese labour who are working in their factories up there, so I don't know how that plays into it. You should go and see the video, check it out, and see what you think of the doctors there saying, you know, we saw these symptoms back in November in Italy. And remember, Italy didn't declare that they had their first coronavirus case until February the 21st. So what I'm thinking is, if that's the case, we're way behind the curve. And there is a report in the Financial Times today that I am going to show you right now, which will muddy the waters probably even more. Coronavirus may have infected half of UK population. Oxford study. New epidemiological model, that's easy for me to say, suggests the vast majority of people suffer little or no illness. So this is in the Financial Times. Read it. The new coronavirus may have already infected far more people in the UK than scientists had previously estimated. Perhaps as much as half the population, according to modelling by researchers at the University of Oxford. And Don was just saying in the chat, he's rang the 111, the NHS helpline, and they said they're not testing anymore. And I've just watched the TV report, the daily update from Boris Johnson, essentially saying that, it looks like they might have found a test whether you've actually had the virus or not. This is really interesting to me. You'll find that, for those of you who know what went on in my family last month, you'll understand why I'm interested. But this article goes on to say, if the results are confirmed, they imply that fewer than 1 in 1,000 of those infected with COVID-19 actually become ill enough to need hospital treatment. And obviously only a fraction of those go on to die. And that was said by Sunitra Gupta, who's Professor of Theoretical Epidemiology, who led the study. The vast majority develop mild symptoms or none at all. So they're saying only 1 in 1,000 is hospitalised. Quote, we need immediately to begin large-scale serological surveys, antibody testing to assess what stage of the epidemic we're in now. I think that's what they were talking about in the conference today, wasn't it? About this test that they'd got to test the symptoms. And it's true, doesn't it? The modelling by Oxford's Evolutionary Ecology of Infectious Disease group indicates that COVID-19 reached the UK by mid-January at the latest. Again, this fits in with the Italy had it in November, not February. Like many emerging infections, it spread invisibly for more than a month before the first transmissions within the UK were officially recorded at the end of February. The research presents a very different view of the epidemic to the modelling at Imperial College London, which has strongly influenced government policy, and I am surprised that there has been such unqualified acceptance of the Imperial model, says Professor Gupta. However, she was reluctant to criticise the government for shutting down the country to suppress viral spread because the accuracy of the Oxford model has not yet been confirmed. And even if it is correct, social distancing will reduce the number of people becoming seriously ill and relieve severe pressure on the NHS during the peak of the epidemic. I'll leave a link to this article so you can go on and read it all if you want to underneath this video when I drop it. But it is interesting that there are conflicting reports coming out now, and it's like I've said all along. Don't believe a word they goddamn say, because they lie about everything. And if they're saying it didn't come over here until March or February, you've just seen a report that says mid-January latest. Now remember, my mum was in hospital last month, suffering with shortness of breath, chest problem. And the problem with COVID-19 is it actually makes your immune system go into overdrive. So you show all sorts of crazy things. It actually fit in with her illness. She was hospitalised for almost 2 weeks, on one of those ventilator things, respiratory failure or pulmonary failure or cardiac failure brought on by COPD. They weren't sure when there was no real diagnosis. Was she hospitalised with COVID-19 and we didn't realise it? How many, if that's the case, have been hospitalised in the last few months with COVID-19 and we didn't realise it? How many of us have had it and we didn't realise it? Don't you find it strange that a frontline nurse on the NHS can't get tested for COVID-19, yet Prince Charles, he gets tested no problem? Isn't that weird? Doesn't that sound like something that is being used selectively for propaganda purposes? I don't know. I think we need to stop at home. I think we need to take this serious. I think we need to take this serious for people like my mum, she nearly died last month. And it might have been COVID-19 by the look of it that killed her. We don't know. We'll have to take this test. I'll let you know if and when we get this test and what it says. But it is serious, and we need to protect the elderly. We need to protect those with underlying health conditions, and we need to, protect the most vulnerable of our society. So we do need to take it serious and stop home and heed the advice, as that article does say. However, how many of us have got it? How serious is it? And remember, I showed you just yesterday how our own government, the UK government website, updated their high consequence infectious disease guidelines on the 21st of March, just 4 days ago, to no longer consider it to be a high consequence infectious disease. Are we being told a selective truth here? We've been told a pack of lies? Wouldn't be the first time, would it? Stay safe, everybody. Stay indoors, but keep an eye on this, because it looks like they're telling big porkies again, doesn't it? We'll see why, I suppose, in the coming weeks and months. I'll keep you informed at every step of Of course, it's a hoax, says Carey Skates. I'm not saying it's a hoax, Carey. And we have to be very careful saying it's a hoax. because it might just be something that they are using to scare people to do something else, but it depends on what else they get. I don't know. But what we do know is my default position with the government and what they say is don't believe a fucking word of it. However, you do have to take something serious, which we all have, and social distancing. And people are really taking this. I went to the shop today, and Christ, if you went within 2 meters of the shopkeeper, he went nuts at you. He didn't go nuts at me, but there's a couple of people who stood too close, and he was like, "Get them," you know, almost there with a 2-meter ruler, pushing them back behind the line, behind the line. Yeah, so be careful. Be careful calling it a hoax, Gary. Say it's a hoax, just. Nikki's saying some people have been found to have scar tissue in their lungs after having COVID-19, similar to the damage from some pneumonias. It was like a pneumonia bout of pneumonia my mom had. Nearly died. Oh, you didn't release anything. I don't think for 2 weeks. It was a worrying time for us all. It makes me wonder whether she's got it, and if she got it, chances are I got it. I mean, doing everything for her. So, what gives, you know? And why was our media, if this turns out to be true, why was our media so quick to believe everything that the government said in those weeks? Chomsky's right, man. Uniformity of our media, dictators would think is incredible. You can get it again, you know, be careful, please. Yeah, Hamza, you can get it again, but it's like you can get other things again that they say you can't. You do get a bit of an immunity to it once you've had it once. But obviously cases depend, cases vary. And it depends on person to person and genetic makeup and all sorts. Gordon, how long do you think the lockdown go for, says S. Kyle Brown? How long's a piece of string? How long's a piece of string? That could, you know, depends, doesn't it? Depends on a lot of things. No, they wouldn't test unless her condition got worse. It's pathetic, says Karen Campbell. It's like they're selectively testing. Whatever the figures are with regards to the tests and how many people have been tested and how many people have got the virus and how many people who are serious with it and how many people are dead with it. Don't believe any of them. Honestly, whatever those figures are, it's way more. Way more. I mean, if that article, that Oxford's anything to go by, it could be as many as half of us. So, I talked about this yesterday. Our government changed the guidance that they put out on their own website about high consequence infectious diseases. And they changed it, as you can see there, on the 21st of March. They updated it. Updated it on the 21st of March. And here it is. They say as of the 19th of March, COVID-19 is no longer considered to be a high consequence infectious disease. If COVID-19 isn't a high consequence infectious disease, I have a question. Why the hell have you shut down the entire country then? And in effect, isn't the fact that you shut down the entire country, doesn't that mean that this is a high consequence infectious disease? Because the consequence is you shut down the country. So this is really confusing for people, as you can appreciate. You know, there's mixed messages here. And remember, this is a government and an establishment and a ruling elite that has lied to people left, right and centre all of their lives. Just recently, they've lied about Syria. They've lied about the Skripals. Nobody believes a word that has been said about the Skripals. They've lied about Russiagate, saying that Trump is president because Putin's troll farm put him there. They lied about Venezuela, saying their elections are rigged, when in fact, their elections are one of the safest in the world. They lied in 2008 to say, austerity is a must. The only thing we can do is austerity and crushing austerity and make you pay for the bankers' mistakes, then have them make out like bandits for 10 years, and then have another crash like this now, and all of a sudden you're not bailing out the bankers, you're talking about bailing out the people. Why didn't you do that before? So they've lied continuously to people all their lives. You can go back even further if you want, and they lied about Iraqi WMDs and 45-minute warning, which led us into a war that cost over 1 million lives and trillions of dollars and pounds and British lives and American lives, etc. They lied going back even further, 9/11 with the Tower 7, reporting that Tower 7 had fell 20 minutes before it actually did. People know they're being lied to. People knew they were being lied to about all those things, just as they knew that they're being lied to about the incubator babies that led us into the Iraq war, just as though they knew they lied about Princess Diana, JFK. The list goes on. People don't believe the government and ruling elites bollocks anymore. So some people have just checked out. And I put it to you, a lot of people who have checked out are just disregarding the government's advice on holding gatherings at the moment. Can you blame them? Can't blame them at all. Well, of course, because people haven't been heeding the advice, and because people are still going to work because, they need to get money, and because then the train companies put on less trains, meaning the people who were going to work were going to be crammed in the trains as normal anyway, which has basically led to people demonising those people for going to work and trying to make a living and trying not to, starve to death. You can see how it's evolved into an absolute disaster. And I saw this yesterday, and honestly, this made me crazy. Despite the government's, this is West Midlands Police on Twitter, despite the government's clear instructions last night, our officers were shocked to find a group of 20 plus people ignoring the lockdown at a barbecue earlier today. If people do not listen to our advice, then we will move to enforcement. Okay, all right, these people are having a barbecue. It could be their last barbecue because they think, we're going to be locked down for 6 weeks or more. They could be thinking that. They could be thinking, I don't know, we're all depressed and isolation's bad for depressed people, so we're going to have one last thing. It could be people, it could just be idiots having a barbecue, of course. It could be anything. But the fact of the matter is, police are now going in and acting like Nazis with this shit and then bragging about it on Twitter. Look at this. Read you this article. Despite the government's clear social distancing instruction last night, our officers today found a group of 20 people. 20 people! Ignoring the lockdown and tucking into a barbecue. I know. We all get told in the UK to stop at home. And what's it done for the last fucking week? It's been bloody glorious sunshine outside. Honestly, the world is so unfair. Neighbourhood officers were on patrol in Foleshill Road, Coventry, just after 2 p.m. when they smelt food cooking and smoke rising near flats in Culworth Court. Yeah, council estate, in other words. They've rocked up to a council estate where brown people live. They were shocked to find a group of around 20 people. Shocked! To find a group of people ignoring advice from people who have been lying to them their entire adult lives, and probably their parents' entire adult lives too. Shocked. Including a toddler and people estimated to be in their 60s, freely mingling and standing shoulder to shoulder around a buffet. It's like the Stasi, isn't it? It's like the Savok in Iran. Our officers told the group it was unacceptable and they needed to adhere to social distancing guidelines to help slow down the spread of the coronavirus. Despite the warning, the group refused and began protesting they should be allowed to continue this barbecue. One woman shouted my children needed to eat, but could not explain why she wasn't cooking for them at home in her kitchen. Who fucking knows? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe she had no gas because she's got no money. Maybe she's a whore and she didn't want anybody to know where she's lived. Maybe she's homeless and she just didn't want her friends to find out. But whatever it is, her children still need to fucking eat. And look what they did. Our officers were forced to tip over the barbecue as the defiant group initially refused to leave. They've got in there these jackbooted fucking thugs, probably trained by the IDF. Yes, the IDF train our police and America's police and the French police who are cracking heads with the Gilets jaunes at the moment. Yeah, they're trained by the IDF, and this is what these jackbooted thugs are doing. They didn't go in there. These police didn't. They're not trained to go in there and say, guys, yeah, I know. They've just been lying to you your whole lives, but this is serious, you know, really serious. Can you go home? I bet they weren't like that, no. They tipped over the fucking barbecue. Like bullies. In the end, our officers felt they needed to end the gathering by tipping over the barbecue and insisting the group dispersed to their homes. In the end, the officers, they felt they need to end the gathering by acting like jackbooted Nazi thugs. Fixed your paragraph. It's vital everyone follows the lockdown instructions. They are essential and it will save lives. Our officers and PCSOs. PCSOs are those police community support officers. The ones these are the jackbooted thugs that were too thick. They were so thick they failed the exam, so they can't actually be in the police. So they actually are there, just being Gestapo with their free time. Our officers and PCSOs will be out and about in communities. Yeah, lower class communities, I'll say, not the middle class though, eh? Not the posh areas. You know, not the posh areas. Just the council estates with the brown people. Huh? Our officers and PCSOs will be out and about in communities, brown communities, council communities, and speaking from a distance of 2 meters with anyone we suspect in breaching the new regulations, and if we feel like it, our jackbooted Nazi thugs trained by the IDF will come and kick over your fucking barbecue. Just to say, hey, we're in control here. We have the power. People do not listen to our advice, then we will move to enforcement, and our chief constable has vowed that we will target the most problematic behaviour. Yeah, I bet the most problematic behaviour is always from the council estates with the brown people where your police officers are constantly fucking circling, aren't they? Let me ask you this, audience. If, I don't know, Graham fucking Norton or Gary Lineker or, you know, anybody like that, high profile, Jamil, were having a barbecue last night with 19 of their friends, do you think the police would have rocked up and kicked over Graham Norton's barbecue if he refused to disperse his guests? Of course fucking not. The police would be nowhere near that neighbourhood. They're going looking for this shit. Now the government have given them powers to act like jackbooted Nazi thugs. And guess what? The jackbooted Nazis, who have just been given permission by our government to go out and act like jackbooted Nazi thugs, are going out and they're acting like jackbooted Nazi thugs. I love my country, you know. I loved the rights we have. Sad, it really is. I know, people. I know. How many of you will take Bill Gates' poison vaccine to say Carey Scouts? We are all in Gaza now. That says it all, that does, doesn't it, Jack Klugman? I'll tell you what, however bad it is over here, it's a lot worse over there. Right. Coughing, I've got COVID. Right. I think that's for me. For tonight, I've got to do some editing. of of my live stream last night. I don't know whether I'm going to leave it till tomorrow, I think, because I'm going to cringe like mad at that video. I know I am. I know I am. I should never, ever, ever drink and go live again. That's all I wanted to talk to you about tonight. I do my video. Wisdom of the Cloud tomorrow. I really am going to get down to doing, concentrate just on that after I've done this editing. Thanks very much for all your help, everybody. Stay safe, stay indoors. I'll keep asking the questions, keep trying to get to the bottom of it. Whatever the story is, we need to protect the elderly and we need to protect those with underlying health conditions from this, because it could kill them. So we have to take it seriously. But at the same time, let's not take everything that they tell us at face value. Let's check. Because they're lying bastards. They keep lying. They've lied to me and you all of our lives. And now they're kicking over barbecues of people who don't believe them anymore. And boy who cried wolf, you know? Stay safe. And yeah, thank you to all the people. Thank you to the people who are still sending me your monthly £1, £2 or whatever it is. It's keeping me going. Thanks to everybody who sent me the odd one-off donation. I had a few come in yesterday, which has really helped. I can put electric and gas on and that sort of thing, so it can keep me going. But obviously don't do it. Don't send me anything if you can't afford it and you're struggling. We appreciate everything it does. It's a tough time. I'll stop here. I'll keep trying to get to the bottom of things and giving you the truth as I see it and what I think are the most important things to concentrate on. Thanks very much, everybody. I'll see you again tomorrow. Take care. Stay indoors. Watch out. If you're going to have a barbecue, watch out for the pigs coming around because they might kick it over. Gestapo. Take care, everybody. Love you all. Stay safe. I'm angry.